Moi everyone and welcome to Finnish Your Plate. The Christmas pinwheel is of course a very traditional baked good at Christmas time in Finland. But besides the traditional prune filling, there's all kinds of modern variations that have different kinds of filling. So I thought I would test a couple of more modern versions. I have here one filled with squeaky cheese and cloudberry, and then I have a glögi orb filled one. So join me and I'll show you how to make these Finnish Christmas pinwheels. Let's make some Christmas pinwheels. I have here some puff pastry though. So I'm gonna split this into 9 squares. And cut each corner. And I'm going to put a little bit of a prune jam. There we go. And now I'm going to fold every other corner. And these are going to go on my baking sheet. Now for the second batch, I'm going to use this blueberry and raspberry jam. These are now going to go into a 350-degree oven. So the pinwheels are out of the oven, but when I see a lot of them, what happened was the jam just spread out a little bit too much. I think it's a quality of the jam. There's something with the Finnish jam that is specifically made for pinwheels that prevents it from spreading out like that. I may have to do a little bit more testing to figure out exactly how to make a jam like that yourself that doesn't spread out too much when baked. The other problem that I see is a lot of these just opened up in the oven. That probably can be prevented by just pressing them tighter together when making them. Okay, so let's make these pinwheels again. I went back to the store and I found this product, which is prune plum cake and pastry filling. These are used to make hamantaschen cookies, if you're familiar with them. To me, that means that this would be much more suitable for baking. You could, of course, make it yourself too if you can't find a filling like this. But let's try this out. And again, I have my puff pastry dough here that's been sitting out for just a little bit so it can soften up. And I'm going to split this into 9 squares again. Try to make them equal. Sometimes that's a little challenging. In Finland, they have cookie cutters specifically for this purpose. I have not been able to find one yet, but I'm still looking. There we go. And now that we split this into 9 squares, again, we're gonna just score each corner. Of the pinwheel. Sometimes it's almost easier just to turn your board around rather than turning your dough around. I've seen two different methods of filling these up. One is that you put the filling on the bottom and then you turn the edges over it. The other one is reversed, that you turn the edges over it first and then you place the filling on the top. So let's do the reverse method. So I'm going to just turn each corner, or rather every other corner, down like this. So this way it might be a little bit easier to push down the wings so that they do not open in the oven. There we go. And now you place a little dollop of filling right here in the center. Again, we'll take every other corner, push them pretty well in, so hopefully they will not open up unlike my first ones did. And after I put all those down, I'm gonna fill them all together at the same time. Also, I noticed that my pastry dough is maybe a little floury. I wonder if just wetting your finger a little would help to adhere the wing down. Let's try that. So what I'm doing is I'm just using my wet finger just to moisten up the center, so when I push down the wings they will adhere better. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. And now let's add some filling to each one. Now before I bake these, let me just give them a little egg wash to give them a little color. I found that that was the other problem with the previous ones, that they just didn't seem to get nice color on them. So let's see if the egg wash will help. Alright, so my oven is set to 400 Fahrenheit, 200 Celsius. They're going to go in for maybe about 10 minutes or so. Let's keep an eye on them though, make sure they don't burn. So as you may have noticed, I also have here some bread cheese, which is kind of like Finnish bread cheese, and some Cloudberry jam. Let's make some bread cheese and Cloudberry jam pinwheels too. So we start the same way. We're going to split this into 9 squares. We'll do the same every other corner to make the wings. We'll fold over, and again we will add a little dollop of the jam in the middle. Just remember that I think this jam, like the first one, will also be a little bit on the runny side, unfortunately. But this is all that I can find here in the US, so we'll have to make do. And now I'm going to take my bread cheese and just cut small cubes. And last thing, again, we're going to do a little egg wash. And these are going to go in the oven together with the other pastries. A couple of years ago in Finland, there was a viral thing where you would make these pinwheels with green jelly candies that are very common at Christmas time. I saw that they have a glögi-flavored jelly candy, this red orb kind of a thing that is exactly like the green one, different flavor though. So I thought, you know what, let me try and see how the pinwheels come out with these candies. It was so popular that they even started making a jam filling flavored like the green orbs instead of using the actual candies. And this time I'm actually gonna brush the egg wash before I put the filling in. I feel like I can get a little bit more coverage this way. This is what they look like. So literally just jelly candies that are shaped like orbs. But they do have a seam in the middle so you can easily open them up. We're going to place one on each, or one half rather, on each one of these. In my experience last time, they really tended to ooze a lot. So let's see if that happens. Let's see if there's anything you can do about it to prevent that from happening. There we go. Let's try the last one. Does this really taste like glögi? It does have that Christmas spice kind of a flavor that you would expect from a glögi, so yes. Here I wanted to show you something that I noticed that was happening with these. So we could see once the puff pastry rises, the orbs, they just fall off. So I think what you can do is you could just use a fork or something like that to place them back on top. I think that is going to be a problem because at this point these orbs are very soft and jelly-like, so they will definitely fall off. Maybe what you could do is you pre-bake the pinwheels first, and then at the very last step, last moment, when they're almost done, you place the orbs on top. There we go. Now I'm just going to put these back in the oven to get just a little bit more color. Our pinwheels are now done. Here's the traditional one with prune. Then there's a little bit more modern with cloudberry jam and squeaky cheese. And then there is the glögi orb one. With the cloudberry and cheese ones, I had the same problem that the cheese kind of tends to slide off. So again, as long as they're warm, you can just use a fork or something like that to reposition it. I'm not sure what the answer there could be instead of doing that, but this works just as well. So let's try the cheese and cloudberry. So there's a nice contrast between the salty cheese and the sweet cloudberry. This is a pretty common flavor pairing in Finland too, so I would definitely urge you to try these out. These are super nice. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.